So your view of immigration, and we'll get to the specifics about your views on immigration, are they not affected at all by the fact that if it wasn't for immigration, you wouldn't exist as an American?
Well, I would certainly exist, but like you said, maybe not as an American. Certainly that's influenced in some measure. But I think that the kind of immigration that we had for a long time in the country, it's different than the immigration that we have now. And let's just say for openers, it's different immigrants. They're coming from a different place with a different culture, a different religion. It's not the same as it was. So first, you have a qualitative difference. My ancestors, for the most part, I have 3 European grandparents from Ireland and Italy, 1 from Mexico. They came from Europe. They came from a society where there's a common ancestry, there's a common religion, common civilization. The people that have come in since 65, since Hart-Celler, they're coming from China, India, the Northern Triangle, Mexico, Venezuela. And so first, they're just different people. Secondly, it's a quantitative difference. There's way more, and it's an unceasing, always increasing wave. For the first 3 or 4 waves of immigration, you would have a major influx of immigrants, and then it would stop.
Values,
and then you'd have another wave, and then it would stop. This one, it just keeps going up for 35 years, and it's too many.
Traditions.
So that's really where I would draw the distinction between maybe where I originate from. I would even just simply call that immigration. What this is an invasion. It's a completely different policy.
But you mentioned,
can't even call it the same thing.
You mentioned Mexico in that list, and your father is half Mexican. So,
yeah.
I mean, by your criteria, part of the invasion would include your father, presumably, and his immediate descendants who came from Mexico.
Not really true, because when my father's ancestors came here, it was a small fraction of the total immigrants that came from Mexico. I don't believe that we should have 0 immigrants forever, or even 0 immigrants from non-white countries. But you have to draw the distinction. My father's father, he was here in the 40s and 50s. It was his parents, or I believe either his parents or grandparents, that came here even earlier. Up until 1965, 90% of the immigrants were coming from Europe. I have no problem with that. If we have 10% of them coming from Mexico or Latin America, maybe that's reasonable, but that's not what it is now. Now you've got 10 million illegals in 4 years under Joe Biden, and you got millions more legal immigrants from China, India, Venezuela, El Salvador, and it's so many with no break for assimilation, and they're all from non-white countries. It's transforming what America is. And again, that's the distinction. That's what makes it unacceptable.
And hey, I do apologize about the background noise. I am actually at work right now. I'm actually sitting on my crane watching other people work at the moment. What can I say? I'm just a hard-working, big, strong man. These are all just opinions coming from a white Christian blue-collar man. So I think basically what Nick is trying to say in this video is, for the most part, he wants to preserve the traditional American way of life that he's accustomed to and that he's comfortable around, right? And the thing is, I think everybody shares that belief to a degree. You know, I think that's why, you know, we have places like in your big cities, you have Chinatown, right? I think that's why in a lot of places you have predominantly black neighborhoods. I think you have like all black schools. You have all black TV channels, BET. You know, I think people like to be around their own people. I believe everybody has a sense of tribalism. You know, Nick Fuentes himself has said that we're actually living through one of the largest social experiments ever, you know, which is the United States, with all of these different colors and races and nationalities and religions, belief systems. And the thing is, like, we never knew how it was going to work out, but we're figuring it out. We're finding out that for the most part, you know, even though we're all here together, it's a melting pot. You know, people still tend to want to be around their own people. But the thing is, it's okay for everybody to say that they want to be around their own people. You know, black people have no problem saying that they prefer to be around their own people. You know what I mean? But when a white person says, look, hey, I want to live in a predominantly white Christian neighborhood, right? Like, I want to send my kids to a predominantly white Christian school. You know what I mean? Whenever somebody says that, everybody gets all up in arms and starts screaming racist. You know what I mean? Starts screaming segregation. Not to mention that we've been told that being racist is the worst thing in the fucking world. But to a degree, you have to just sometimes chalk it up as pattern recognition, right? Like, you don't want to go wearing a Rolex through a bad, predominantly black neighborhood, flashing it around. You're likely to get robbed. And that's not racist. That's pattern recognition. And I think that's why Nick Fuentes has the following that he has. I think that a lot of people, in particular, white Christian nationalists, have shared this same opinion, right? Whoa, we got jets flying overhead. Yeah, I think a lot of people share this same opinion, and why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't everybody have the right to live around their own people? Every nationality, every religion, every group of people is already doing that. They could be open about it. They could say, I want to live around my own people. I prefer to live around my own people. As white people, why can't we say we want to live in predominantly white neighborhoods with white Christian people, with traditionally white Christian values, send our kids to traditionally white Christian schools, okay, without being called racist? I think that's got to change, y'all. Real quick, I do appreciate everybody who watches my content, so please hit that like button, leave your comments. I do want to hear what other people think about this, and please subscribe to your boy. Subscribe and follow. Hit that bell icon and follow your boy. Thank you.